Leo's has something great for you to bring to your Thanksgiving dinner. A Leo's pumpkin log. That's right. Oh, your Thanksgiving Day celebration, you'll be the hero as everybody enjoys Leo's flavorful pumpkin cake rolled up with a cream cheese filling. Perfect for the holiday feast. Baked fresh for you and your family, only from Leo's. Plus, pick up dinner for quick and easy to go meals at Leo's Cafe or Deli. What's the best thing about Leo's? Say it with me, my friends. Everything on Dispatch Drive in East Rochester, open every day. Tell them Billified sent you. Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram's got their Black Friday sales event going on right now. That means huge savings for you. Look, the weather is going to change. The lake is warm. The cold weather comes across that. We could have one snowy winter. You want to have something that's going to be safe and reliable for you and your family. And you'll find it at Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, like a new 2024 Jeep Compass Limited 4x4, $249 per month for 42 months. First payment, DMV taxes, fees due at signing, $3,500 cash or trade, 7,500 miles per year. Must have lease loyalty. See dealer for details. Exclusions apply. Or how about a new 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee 4xe, up to 50% off the MSRP with 7 to choose from. Some of these units have hail damage, but that means you could save big, up to 50% off the MSRP, part of Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram's hail sale. The Black Friday sales event is underway at Victor Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, Route 96 in Victor. You can find out more online at victorcdjr.com. Well, hello. There is an awful lot to talk about, from football to UFC to boxing, and we will get to all that in the next episode. Today, it's another installment of Billightenment, and again with Sheila Tillich. Just warning you up front, I'm telling you, there's something happening in the world, and we'll get to all of it right after this. Cobblestone on Main at 109 West Main Street in the Village of Webster was just over there this weekend as both the owner and his daughter celebrated their birthday, Dan Bresnahan. They had great music from Jumbo Shrimp, followed by the living room sessions, and an amazing crowd. The food is amazing, and I have a 14-year-old son. I took him with me. The reason he was willing to go is he loves the nachos at Cobblestone on Main. I'm just telling you, it's a great shareable. But the upscale bar, the warm atmosphere, great for date night. Please follow them on Facebook. They put up a lot of their specials and things that you can see. And, of course, craft cocktails to fit the season. Cobblestone on Main, 109 West Main Street in the Village of Webster. If you're looking for a defense attorney who truly has your back, it's Steve Cirque and Cirque Law. At Cirque Law, they believe everyone deserves a fair defense. Steve Cirque and his team work tirelessly to ensure your rights are protected and that no stone is left unturned in building your case. Whether you're facing a DWI or accused of something you didn't even know you did, Cirque Law is there to defend your rights and personal freedoms. Criminal cases, they've seen it all, from simple misdemeanors to serious felony offenses. Steve Cirque and his team have been there, done that successfully. Their secret? Preparation. They prepare for every possible scenario to ensure the best outcome for you. So if you've been charged with a crime and need a defense attorney with integrity, experience, and results, choose Cirque Law. 585-385-2510 or visit CirqueLaw.com. Make sure your rights are protected with Cirque Law.
If you want it, you can have it. All you gotta do is just reach out and grab it. If you want it, you can have it. All you got to do is just reach right out and grab it. Step on up. Step into your power. Step on up. Step into your power, child.
Welcome to another episode of Billightenment with Sheila Tillich. Am I saying your name right?
Tillich.
Tillich. Thank you. Did that wrong last
Sorry.
time. I have a tendency to mispronounce like everybody's name. I've been substitute teaching. You should see me. I'm like a
That's right.
Saturday Night Live skit.
I'm so used to it.
But I heard this song the other day, and I I think I've heard it several times, but it just resonated with me, and I went, I gotta use that the next time we do a Billightenment, because it's step into your power. And boy, we act like we are powerless and at the mercy of everything and all this stuff. And yet, I will tell you, from maybe this will become a therapy session for me. I don't know. We were talking earlier, and I almost started to cry.
That's all right. That's what it's all about.
I was almost,
That's what
I was almost ready to start crying, and I went, I don't know, I can't do that.
Because it's coming from heart to heart.
I guess, I believe that. But anyway, what I was thinking is that a lot of times we think that there's assertion, something's being done to us, and I will say that if you really push me, I'm going to say no. I don't believe there's assertion. I don't think somebody else can do things to you, and yet throughout history we've seen it.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes we feel like it is somebody else's fault, and it feels good to blame them, which is better than depression. It's a little step up because now I'm blamed. But what is the right answer, and how do you deal with all that? And sort of that plays into our political climate, I think, a little bit at the time, or of the time.
What's change?
Yeah.
People aren't used to change, and they live in the fear of the change. So keep doing what you always did, and you'll get what you always got.
Right.
But now is that we can stand into our power and just grow. And a lot of us don't know how to grow because they are programmed to believe that all is bad and what is happening to you is bad. And it's not. Sometimes it's for the good. It's part of evolution.
Yeah.
Yes. Evolving.
Yes. And I always think everything is evolution. I think everything sort of builds on it. I think that we're very lucky. And one of the things that I love about this song is what it says in there: everything you need is here. Everything you need is here. We're not trucking things in from other planets. I don't know if other planets sometimes needed what we had. I'm not sure if you believe in such a thing. But we have everything we need right here.
Exactly.
So all this struggle, what do we do? How do we...
And we have helpers. We have a lot of helpers.
That
are us.
Spiritual beings or...
Oh, yeah. Spiritual beings,
yeah.
Where we came from. We're divine, right?
Yes.
And so we're not alone.
No.
And so when we deal with energy, we deal with past lives, but also our loved ones that loved us in this lifetime. But their energy is still with us. And that's part of evolution as far as a lot of people, their connection to God, whatever it is.
Yes.
Right? And knowing that God's there for us. And that is, we are one in unity with that divinity. So a lot of people don't know how to live their lives. They've been programmed to believe certain things. And when things start to change that they're not used to, then the fear comes in.
Right.
Instead of looking at it, well, wait a minute, maybe it might be a better avenue for me. And just like, when one door closes, another one opens.
Right.
And a lot of people don't want to step through that door because they don't know how. They haven't been programmed yet to do that.
Yeah.
And so it brings fear.
Fear is such an ugly thing because it can really, really paralyze you.
It's in everybody.
It can just paralyze you. I mean, I've been there for a while in certain aspects of my life where there are days you were like, ugh, I don't even want to get out of bed and face this.
You're paralyzed, yeah.
Yeah,
paralyzed.
I mean, that's what it feels like.
But there's good fear and there's negative fear, all right?
So Sheila came in and said, I'm going to turn my phone off, and I did and I did not do the same. I apologize.
That's all right.
So talk to me, because I guess, fear, things coming at us, feeling like we're stuck, trying to do all that. And a lot of what you do is to help people move through that. Right.
And they limit themselves when they don't want to move past. Right. So
limiting beliefs.
Their belief system.
Yeah.
And also what they've been programmed.
Yeah.
And so they stay in the fear, and then it limits them from going on to the horizon or manifesting certain things. We talked about manifesting before. What is that? And how do they move forward and get unstuck in their lives?
Yeah.
Well, you've got to do something different.
Yeah.
But a lot of people stay stuck because they don't know how to do anything different. And then that's where the programming comes in the belief system. Well, if I do this, I'm going to be walking away from what I've been programmed and believe in as a child or as an adult.
Right.
And so the fear is like a vicious cycle. But if you don't go past the fear, you would never know. All right. Just like if you never make any different choices, you're not going to know anything different.
Right.
All right. So actually taking the step and getting out of the fear, all right, and just rely on that. I know I need to do this for my own health, for my own life, whatever it is. Just like people don't want to change professions.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
And sometimes it just happens.
Yeah.
And then you go into the fear mode.
Yes.
But if you look at it more, it's supposed to happen because it's part of where you need to be. 20, 30 years ago, it was always you have one job, just like when Kodak started coming down in Xerox, is that they didn't know how to live their lives without Kodak. They've always been in the family.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my gosh. But look how we have evolved. We have gone on from that.
Yep.
And a lot of us started living lives that were geared for, our heart's desire or something that they always wanted to do and they never took the chance to do it.
Right.
Is because they lived in the fear, but then they were pushed to do it.
Yes.
And then it comes to find they were much happier.
Mm.
Just my situation is that I went to nursing school in the 90s, all right, and I wanted to be a nurse midwife, but I have 3 years for my nursing, and I never continued. But I learned hospice work, and that's when I really connected, that I was connected and the angels connection in my life and stuff like that. And so I followed that path because I always knew that I needed to do different. And so I did.
Yeah.
And it allowed me to go to where I'm at now.
So the fear is an interesting thing, and I feel like you're talking right to me at times with this.
Because we are one. When you talk to somebody, when you make the heart connection, all right, that's the heart coherence connection in the consciousness field. So when we talk about consciousness, we're talking about energy.
Yeah.
Right? And when you have a serious conversation with somebody, you can tell whether they're bullshitting you or not. You can tell whether it's real, whether they're being authentic or transparent.
Right.
That transparency is a new word now for everybody. But what does that mean? People say, well, I don't know, you're not being transparent.
Yeah.
And what do you mean? I'm not being authentic. Well, what does that mean? But you can feel it in the energy field.
Yeah.
All right? So we do. We talk one-on-one. It's about one-on-one. Making that heart connection.
Oh God, you're gonna make me go all over the place.
I know we are all
you're gonna make me like
because it's all part of it.
Well, because I think that a lot of times when religion has conditioned us, right, so much, and
the dogma of religion.
Yes, and then I saw something the other day, and I've come to really start to believe that Jesus was misinterpreted a lot, and basically was trying to say, be like me, that there's one word difference in a translation that really changes the whole meaning. I think it was in the King James Bible. I'm the way. And he's going, be my way, be like me. You all have this in you. You all are Christ-like. You all are of the divine. You are of the same thing. And boy, it's some kind of programming, and we see it. We call it things like self-esteem and stuff like that. But it is, boy, it keeps you down.
It does.
It keeps you down.
Right. But when you think of Jesus, think of the times back then, okay? So it was geared towards the time, just like it's geared towards the time now here, where a lot of us are living in our fear.
Yes.
All right? However, it's all about your divine connection of who you are as a being, as a divine being. And Jesus was a great master, just like Buddha was a great master. And a lot of the saints and all the people that we idolize or that we turn to, because it's about the energy of what they project, the love.
Yes.
Do as me, do as I. However, it's gotten misconstrued by the actual time era. And remember, it's the evolution. Where are we now?
Right.
All right. We are evolving. And back then, Christianity wasn't even set yet. It was starting to be set. And now all the actual religions that we have and the dogmas of different things, and a lot of times it gets distorted.
Yes.
So if you go back to original, what did Jesus come here for? To tell us about love, to show us love,
right?
To be love. And that's what the heart is. It's about coming. Heart is the gateway of love. It's the gateway of love.
Yeah.
And that's when we make the connection of love, we get an authentic energy going here,
right?
And we know that we're not being bullshit, and you can rely on that person. But sometimes people have a hard time with it because whatever they're talking about, It's what their belief system and what they've been told. All
Yeah.
right. So they don't want to go there and believe anything different.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
That if you
Well,
don't,
if you're contrary to my belief system, therefore you are wrong.
yeah, exactly. And
Or-
nobody's wrong. We're all evolving.
Yeah. So a lot of time there are some that say you can get to where you want to be by two paths. One being that of hard work and grit and desire, and those are the things we're often taught, right? Hard work.
Yeah.
And the other is more of a feeling way, an energy way, tapping into it, but still doing. I think that's part of the problem, is that sometimes we think that things are just going to pop up, but you got to kind of head that way.
Well, you got to bring the shovel.
Yes.
You know, that's the whole point, is that, and our experiences as we evolve is the shovel of how to work with it. 'Cause
Yes.
sometimes you use that shovel and it didn't work. And
Right.
then we say, well, it didn't work back then. No, but you weren't in the place that you are now.
Yeah, right.
Just like humanity now, what is happening now in the world dynamics. Everything is evolving. Everything is changing. And we aren't back in the 50s or the 60s. We are now in the 2024,
Yeah.
heading up to 2030.
Yeah.
You know, and that's mind-boggling when you look at it. It's like, how is it going back? How is it going by so fast?
Right.
But we are evolving, and so we can make different choices. And sometimes what worked 5, 10, 15 years ago isn't working now
Because
everything's changing.
yes.
What is it changing? How you relate to somebody, how is it changing with you? When you're in that situation, when somebody is in a different belief than you, how are you reacting? It's how you react.
Yeah. I was just I'm answering the question.
No.
I'm answering the question, and the answer is I'm not. I
Well,
try
sometimes
not
you don't
to
have to.
I
but-
try not to react, because I have come to think that an opinion you can't shut down somebody else's opinion. Let them speak.
Exactly.
Let it out there. I'm not here to change your opinion. And to me, maybe I'm wrong, the definition of an opinion is halfway between fact and fiction. Right? So that's sort of the way I look at it.
Yeah.
And so I'll think that, yes, some of this stuff is based on things that are factual. Some of it's based on things that may not be factual, but it is their opinion, and it's fine. And I actually enjoy hearing different people's thought process.
Exactly. Me
I
too.
really do like that. It's amazing to me.
And that's how you learn.
Yes. And
If you're open to learn.
open, right. And
Yeah.
I feel like I had a big shift in my life a couple of years ago, and things have been kind of bumpy. But yet I had to stop one day and go, boy, all of this, meeting you, meeting these other people, Dr. Deep and the water, Naughty Water, and all
Yes.
this stuff, all these things that I was never exposed to before,
Yeah.
now coming in, and I'm going, I got to tell people about this in some way.
Well, you're being enlightened, and that's why you have the show.
Yes.
You're enlightened, you're awakening, but you're looking beyond what's out there. You're going within,
Yes.
all right? And that's the divinity that we all have. That's the power, all right? And a lot of us don't believe that we have the power because we've been told we're not Jesus.
Yes. Right.
But we are.
I think we are too.
We
And
are.
I know that sounds crazy to people, but I do think that
We're
you
energy.
have that. Yes. And look, you brought up Buddha before.
Yeah.
A friend of mine has a friend who is from an Asian country and is a Buddhist.
Uh-huh.
Recently lost a loved one.
Uh-huh.
And was showing this person a picture of the person dead in the hospital bed, and they said, oh no, that's just their body, they're still here.
Right.
There are many people that will tell you have 2% of what you are in this body.
Exactly.
Like, what an amazing thing, and that this is just the vehicle. But it's very hard on the human level to no longer see that person here, but know that they're here. And that, I think, is the mind, pardon my French, the mind fuck for many people, right?
Well, it is because they've been afraid to look at the dead, all right? And they've been fearful of crossing over in the dead too. So that comes into play too, which you've always been told. But we when you look at a body that's transitioning, you can see the life force being taken away from them or changing in them.
Yes.
The way that they look and whatever. And when they are gone, there is a different vibration. Soul is not there anymore.
Right.
You can feel it, you can see it. And I had the opportunity to be with my brother for 5 days before he crossed over. And he was outside of the body, all right? It was just a shell.
Yeah.
But I was able to communicate with him outside of the body. And that's one of the abilities that I have, but I built upon it. But when somebody sees a dead body and they're fearful of it, because it's not that person, it's a shell, but it's not that person, what they remember.
Right.
All right? And then the programming and beliefs comes into play too.
Yeah.
What they've been taught, how to look at that.
Right.
And that our soul never dies. That's the part that science always thought it was the junk DNA.
Yes.
The junk soul. And it's not.
Yeah.
Science has proven it, but however, humanity and the way things are, the way they are, will not let that information come out because we haven't got to that stage yet. But it's there. And that's what the scientific proof, a lot of the stuff has been hidden and it's coming out, but it's part of the evolution that it's there. It's there. And it's coming.
Yeah.
And
it's very interesting to me. I don't know how other people feel about it, but that you are energy and you never die and you come back, and some people tell you choose who, even the family you go to.
And I told you that, and you said, no way. Well, it is.
Yeah, I did. I go, wait a second.
I know. Well, it's just like with me. I came from an alcoholic home, and I didn't have a good childhood. And everybody in my family's crossed over, and we all had different, unique relationships with each other, all right? But we all played a role, all right? And once that soul crosses over, it's all love energy that comes back.
Yeah.
And just like I had a reading yesterday by somebody that we traded service with, and the things that she told me wasn't anything that I didn't already know because they've already communicated with me. Because it's the roles that you play, so the lessons that you learn, all right? That's why I can pick up on different people, heart center, because I've been there and I understand that. But a lot of times we say, I would never be chosen to be in that family. Well, yes, you did. Your soul came back to be able to experience it as a human, to be able to experience what it's like to love somebody and to die, all right? Yeah. And to be in a different body, just like what the actual Hindu believes. All right, the Hindus believes, and the cows are very sacred and stuff like that. They're going to be, part of our lifetime. It's another relative,
Right.
But it's all about the soul and the energy in that soul. That the energy in the soul never dies, and we are all one.
Right.
That's what is happening since 9/11. The day after 9/11, we were all one.
Yeah, we were.
We're all one because it was about the energy. Yeah. And that is when the actual Princeton University, NASA, and also Heart Math Institute proved that consciousness is energy and energy is consciousness. What we were feeling when we all seen those planes go into the tower, it was actually scientifically documented by machines in the earth, geomagnetic machines, and also satellites. All right, that was measuring the frequency, magnetic field about the earth. All right, and that's when they proved that we are all energy. We have a field. And my study as being a metaphysician is about the frequency of the higher frequency and the lower frequency. What does that mean? When you feel high, you feel good. You just feel
you're
whole.
In the zone. It's like an athlete in the zone is
exactly
how I would talk about it. Yeah.
But when you feel low, you say, oh, I don't want to do anything, and you have negative thoughts, and you beat yourself up.
Yes.
It's all about what you think and how you talk to yourself.
Okay, so how do you get out? This is perfect.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we get stuck.
Exactly.
And I always say to my kids, I don't want to tell you to think positively because I want to give that person the middle finger myself. Because it's hard. It's hard. So I'll say, go for the better feeling thought, no matter what it is. Find it. Go generic. Go as generic as you can. Go as generic as you can. Meaning like, It's a nice day, cool air, something that's positive.
Yeah, but think of it as something that you're learning so that you don't do again. And think of it when you see a bully.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you don't stick up for the person that's being bullied, you know, then you feel guilty afterwards for not doing that.
Right.
And then that's like it says, go within inside and ask what to do. And that's when I talked about the SIT program.
Yes.
Sit in
Yes.
3 minutes.
Yes.
But it's the same thing when you're in a relationship with somebody. And when you don't say anything, you don't have to argue with them, but you can say, you might be right. But inside, you don't have to give your full opinion about it, but you can listen to them.
Right.
And when your children are making choices, it's all about us teaching, right? Teaching right from wrong. You know, it's not right to steal from somebody. It's not right to do this. And the fear, the healthy fear, is don't go into the road because you might get hit by a car.
Right.
And my role is to help you. And the same when you're trying to talk to somebody or your children about things that happen, you know it's not fair and you know that it's not right. Okay, so understand that you know that it's not right, okay? However, what you can do is you can project more of a compassion towards that person, all right? And then also, that's the positive frequency you can put out.
Yeah.
You know, and people say, well, positive and negative, what can you do when you see the negative things happen? Send the energy of love out, all right? Because they don't have that. They're always coming from the lower frequency because they haven't been taught it.
Yes.
They haven't lived it.
How do we raise the frequency? And I've been doing what did you call it? The what program?
It's called the SIP method.
SIP.
All right. But it is the 3-minute method where you go inside and just listen.
I've been doing 4 because it
That's
takes
fine.
me a second to get in there.
Well, there's another thing too. It's called the box method breathing, which is sometimes I tell people. And then they can actually go into the 3-minute.
Okay.
So a lot of people are overwhelmed by doing meditation. I can't get it because my mind is all over the place. Absolutely. Our mind is all over the place. But if you stop and get quiet, learn to live in the silence.
Yes.
We can't live in the silence. It's because we get uncomfortable with it because
Right.
we're not used to it. So if you train yourself to just live in the silence, it gets better and better. And when you breathe slowly and deeply, it brings the actual process in your brain, relaxation mode, into your body. So that's why people do the actual breathing technique of slowly and deeply, so your body can slow down. Everything can slow down. So a box method is where you breathe in for 4 seconds, and you hold it for 4 seconds, and then you breathe out for 4 seconds, and then you hold it, and you visualize yourself going around a box.
Okay.
All right. So you're doing 4, 4, 4, 4, and you're really doing 16. Okay.
Yeah.
4, 4. You're going around. And then after that, then you can just set your timer for 3 minutes and say, what do I need to know today?
Right.
Ask for a question, anything. You know, how do I relate to a person?
Right.
How do I do this? How do I do that? And then listen to the answer that comes back. And it's a process of training yourself. But I call it, sit in the presence.
Yes.
Which means the present moment.
Right.
I learned that technique from one of my mentors, Suzanne Geeson, which hers was originally sit in prayer.
Right.
So prayer is how people connect with God source, whatever it is. But I say sit in your present because we're all divine beings. And we have the power to be able to live our lives in a higher frequency.
Yes.
So when you're talking about enlightenment, that's where does the power come in? Where does the power come in? It's inside us.
Yes. Step
Yeah.
into your power.
Step into your power.
Step into your power. So
Yeah.
it's right there waiting for you.
And
Just
when we
reach out
say,
and grab it.
when I said we have loved ones around us, that is the frequency of the divine. That's all of our loved ones, that all the lifetimes we've had.
Yes.
And that is Jesus. Yeah. That is Buddha. That is all the saints, whatever you want to call, all your angels.
So let's say, can we try to make it a little more practical?
Practical, right.
But
it's that you don't have to argue. Just because somebody has a different opinion from you doesn't mean you have to argue.
No, what I was going to, you were right, that is true. I didn't mean to say no.
No, I hear you.
But what I wanted to ask was, let's say in everyday life, I'm feeling overwhelmed, right? People feel like things are just coming at me. I can't keep up. I can't keep up with certain stuff. And how do you raise your frequency? Because that's a lower frequency.
Breathe.
Okay.
All right. So when I talked about the box method, that's just one thing.
Yeah.
But the reason why you breathe slowly is so that the energy in your cerebral fluid in your spine can have the time to go up into the neurons in your brain to help put that relaxation, set that relaxation mode into your body.
Okay.
All right. So that's why you always talk about breathing. Now, people, when they do yoga, it's all about breathing in and stretching and breathing out, bringing the energy into the muscles, right? It's the same with you. How do you get unstuck?
Right.
You breathe, all right? Don't hold your breath. And it's doing different. A lot of people hold their breath when they get anxious or whatever.
Sure.
It's the fight and flight.
Yeah.
All right. That is the fight and flight response from your parasympathetic and your sympathetic. So it's both. It's with your nervous system and it's also with your organs when things shut down. So when you breathe, it kind of relaxes everything and allows you to go inside and be able to hear things and listen. That's not a good, I shouldn't say that. No, I shouldn't say that. And sometimes you blurt things out without realizing you put your foot in your mouth.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, let me step back. And that's what they always say, step back, take a breath
Right.
before you say anything.
Yeah.
That's what you can do. But you've got to set the intention of wanting to change.
Okay.
That's the enlightenment. It's all about choices. A lot of people don't want to choose because of the programming and their beliefs, the fear.
Right.
If they change, if they don't say something and go along with this person, I'm not going to be included, you know, especially kids in school.
Right.
Or I'll get bullied,
Right.
you know.
Mm-hmm.
But things are changing now. And so if we stay in the positive, okay, I know this is happening to teach me. And I know that I'm going to change because I want to change.
So sometimes I think like I'll often look for patterns in life, patterns of behavior, patterns of things. And I've noticed like even a pattern in my own life.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's not changing. How do you break that? Because there must be a belief somewhere.
You are doing it.
I am.
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
All right, you're having people like me on it, and you have Billightenment. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you're listening inside. I want to do something different. So now you've taken the actual step and having people like me on, and going in another direction. It's like knowing you need to change. You don't know how, and all of a sudden, hey, Bill Enlightenment. I mean, about do that. You know, that's exactly what is happening.
Right.
But a lot of people say, well, that's not enough evidence for me. That's not enough evidence.
Mm.
Well, it's called baby steps.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, you know, I talk about the child wanting to be a runner, marathon runner, or you're going up a ladder.
Right.
All right. And you need to take those steps in order.
Yes.
And a lot of people don't want to.
Well, yeah, I often say you can't get here from there, but you can get
to there. Unless you go through here.
You got to go a couple, you know, you can get here, and you can get here, and you can get here, and keep moving forward. So, I guess that's sort of the thing. I just see a pattern in my own life, probably like around certain things. So let's bring it to something a lot of people sweat, money, right? So you have the fear, and you sweat it, and it's not there, and will it be enough, and how do I get more, and blah, blah, blah.
Less than.
We block, but what is it? Because I feel like you block, or is there something attached to you?
It's because if you don't do it a certain way, you're not going to be good. You're not going to survive. It's the fear mode that if you don't do it this way, this is what's going to happen. But if you don't do it, it's not going to change.
Right.
All right. Just like the man who was a professional and worked all the time, but never spent any time with his family.
Right.
And on the deathbed, what do they ask? I wish I had more time with my family. I wish I would have listened to my gut feeling and taken care of my family or be with them.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's about lesson. And we learn those lessons from the past. Just like in your life, when you learn different things in your life, I'm not comfortable with that.
Right.
And it's about comfortable and being uncomfortable. And a lot of times we get uncomfortable because we don't know how to be comfortable. We don't know how to answer the person because we're programmed. This is going to happen. That's where, when I help people get unstuck, I use the energy. I go into the energy of the cellular memory of the DNA.
Yes.
And so a lot of people say, well, what is that? Well, you have subparticles. We are all made from atoms, protons, electrons, We came from somewhere. We came from energy. All right. And when you look at that concept about why things stop working for you, all right, in the body, all right, the heart is a muscle. A heart beats and it supplies oxygen and everything else for the rest of the body. So you need to go to the source. You need to go to the sources. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. Why am I upset? Why am I programmed to believe that I'm not going to amount to anything, or I have to do it this way? It's what you were brought up with.
So, okay, that's it perfectly. You said it perfectly.
Okay.
Because I do think that there are limiting beliefs that we all have. And I always say a belief is just a thought you think over and over and over.
But where did you get the thought?
Probably from some dumbass that shoved it into my head.
No, it was
I'm teasing.
So let's go back. So what happened was when the negative imprint of the energy was imprinted, it happened that the whatever didn't get resolved. All right, there was no resolution to it. So if you felt guilty about something, all right, and you weren't guilty, but it was imprinted that you were guilty, and you weren't allowed to be heard.
Yeah.
All right. You weren't, and so that imprints that negative imprint in your energy field. So sometimes when you get triggered, if you want to do something differently, and your father says, "No, you got to do it this way," that going to come back. Well, no, he said I got to do it this way, and so you don't build this worthiness inside of yourself. All right. So it's like a snowball effect. Everything is affected together. If you were taught early in life that you're not going to amount to anything, and all of a sudden you break away and you do, but all of a sudden something happens, and that emotion that's stored way down deep inside didn't get resolved. Okay.
Right. Oh, okay.
Okay.
So how do you go? So this would be part of the healing the inner child that people talk about, or psychologists talk about. So how do you do that without going back? Talk therapy. I sometimes get concerned that
we
talk
talked about
therapy
that.
keeps
Cognitive
you
therapy.
stuck in there.
So you got to go to the core root.
Right, but how do you get there?
Well,
and how do you say to yourself, "This is bullshit," or "That's not true"?
Okay.
Look at this. This is not true.
It's all about taking action. It's the intention. I really want to get better. I want to change.
Yeah.
So you got to do something.
Yes.
And so that's where I come into play. All right. I start from the beginning, but I come from energy psychology. What happened the first 7 years of your life? And say, well, I don't want to talk about that. You know, I've gone beyond that. Yeah, you have. But those triggers and that pain is still within your cellular memory, the subconscious in your brain. And a lot of times people have, bad, dreams and stuff like that. And it's all about what's deep down inside. And that's your conscious, your subconscious. That's energy. And energy is within your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body, how you think and how you respond.
Right.
And also it's about your spiritual body. It's about divine, who you really are.
But you can change that.
If you choose.
If you choose. Yes. And that is the real work.
That's exactly what's happening now. People are thinking that, oh my gosh, everything is going to come, falling apart. But if we don't move forward, nothing will ever change. And so that's the same with yourself. You need to take action and set the intention. And then you have to do it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't want to.
Right.
And until you take the action.
Sometimes when you that's the fear, right, that holds you back and you can't, and you feel like I can't.
That's the programming,
right,
and the limitations.
And so if you just kind of go and all of a sudden you're doing it and everything's going so well and it's unfolding for you beautifully.
That's where energy medicine comes into play.
Okay.
When you talk about talk therapy.
Yeah.
All right, that's good, but let's get to the core issues. How do you get rid of it?
Right.
And so what is happening now is that the magnetic field of the earth has changed. We are allowed to be able to tap into that energy, and they prove that with the science.
Yeah.
Right? But a lot of people don't want to believe in that science. It's not real science. Well, guess what? It is real science, but it's been held back. But now we are moving forward, and things are coming out. All right?
Yeah.
And people like me are speaking out and saying, no, this is how I've healed myself. And I know my emotions and how they got stored inside my physical body.
Right.
And why do they get stored inside my physical body is because of the environment that I grew up in.
Yeah.
But my parents didn't know any better. They were doing exactly what they knew to the best of their ability.
Right, which goes back to if there's no such thing as assertion, that sure feels like assertion. So do you understand what I'm saying? But I would say, okay, but there's really not, and you need to break through that because that's not real.
Right, and like the same thing with fear.
Yes.
Fear, there's good fear
Yes.
of the child not going into the road.
Yes.
And then there's fear of being actually paralyzed. You can't move.
Yes.
All right, depression and how
Yes.
it goes with inside. So, chemistry has a lot to do with it, and modern medicine is about chemistry.
Yes.
But it's beyond chemistry. Our bodies are made of molecules. And anytime you put any type of drug or something that changes the chemistry in the body, you've changed it. All right. So the body has a hard time having homeostasis. All right. So the body is actually a holistic body that can heal itself with the right energy and the right components. That's why the Native American and a lot of the things that we did years and years ago was all about homeopathic, natural things, how we survived. We didn't have the modern chemistry that we have now.
Yes.
But what is coming forward is the good part of modern medicine is the involvement with the energy field, with the quantum physics, the energy, laser technology.
Yeah.
All right. Things where we can change things in the medical field for the good. All right. So that's evolvement.
What about, and I had asked you this sort of off, Mike, but let's say, let's go with depression.
Okay.
We hear about a lot of people who are depressed.
Yeah.
And some people get medicine, right, to help them not be depressed. And I'm asking, is that the path, the path of least resistance to getting you back to where you should be as a person? I don't know.
It's a crutch. It's a helper.
It is a crutch.
It's a helper, though.
Yeah.
But sometimes, just like...
Is it a tool?
Well, it's a tool, but sometimes it can be abused.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So, like people, they have addictions. Sometimes they go on Suboxone.
Yes.
Right? And sometimes they go on methadone.
Yeah.
Right. Methadone is something that it's hard to get off of. Suboxone you can. I mean, I'm not a trained doctor in that area, but the thing is, it needs to be in conjunction with cognitive therapy or healing therapy, feelings, emotions. So it's all about psychosocial.
Right.
So it goes back to the childhood again.
Right.
It goes back to what you learned how to survive,
Yeah.
And so you do this, and this, or you're not going to survive. But then when we get older and then we start to break away and we have a good life, but all of a sudden we get triggered by something. Say, well, I thought I dealt with that.
Yes.
But you did, but another layer has come out. And now it's really, let's go back into the emotions that got stuck there. What's the core issue? I didn't feel heard. I didn't feel worthy enough. If I felt like I was always controlled, and if I wasn't a good person, or in their eyes what they think is good, or make the grades, that I'm going to be a failure.
Right.
And it's not. And just like, I always remember one of my professors always said, when you graduate as a doctor, you have a doctor at the end of your name. And when you go to have a job, they're not going to say, well, what were you what was your class score? Did you have a 4.0? Did you have a 2.0? You still have the doctor behind that.
Yeah.
And what I always told my kids is you do the best you can with whatever you got. Right. And if you can't get A's and you get C's, that's okay, as long as you did your best. And you might be better in other subjects. Some people aren't out to be college graduates. Some people are better with their hands. And that's how my children turned out too. Yeah. And it's okay not to be compared with somebody else, because we compare ourselves with people.
See, so that would go back to almost a Buddhist. I think the core Buddhist philosophy is that all of life is suffering, but it's really suffering because you're comparing yourself.
But also, what you're doing in life is growing.
Yeah.
And learning how to react to things and not react.
Right.
And to come more from compassion and come within.
Yeah. Come within. It's a very
interesting.
It is interesting, and it's for me it's one of these things that sometimes I feel like it's easier said
than done.
Right?
Absolutely.
But you kind of go in and you can calm yourself. You can do things. You can,
do the breathing. Just sit and go out of the room. I used to, and when I worked in the hospital, I used to go in my bathroom breaks. I go in and just sit there and just sit.
Yeah.
And just relax myself again.
Right.
Because you have to. Or you get caught up in that. You get the high blood pressure and you get all this stuff going on physically with your body.
Right.
So it's all about your choices and your intention. And many of us are enlightened now. We're waking up and saying, I'm not happy. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
But a lot of times what they'll do is they will play the victim role and blame it on somebody else.
Yes,
that's survival. That's techniques they learned.
Right.
It's their fault I turned out like this.
Yes.
And what I always said, once you turn 18, you have to start acting like you're grown up and making the choices and the consequences.
Yeah.
And a lot of times in families, they enable because they want to help their child. They don't want them to suffer. But if they don't learn through consequences, they're not going to change. They're not going to evolve.
Well, that's like sort of the contrast, what I don't want and what I do want. And you so keep going over here and right. Sort of the consequence is this. I don't want that, so I'll go this way.
Yeah. But it's also in relationships, don't you think?
Yeah.
In relationships, you have to, it's about compromise, but also accepting or not accepting, but compromising in between, and not blaming somebody else for your pain or your hurt.
Right.
But take responsibility for yourself.
Yeah.
And say, I hurt you. I'm sorry. I'm going to look at things differently next time.
Yeah.
And if you don't, call me on it.
Yeah.
Ask the other person to call you on it. Because that's the only way you evolve and change, is that you see what you did wrong or that you hurt somebody or you got hurt.
Right.
And because you set yourself up to get hurt or not.
Well, okay. So that goes back to like some things that I've read and what have been told to me is everything that happens to you is your fault. In some way, you attracted that.
Well,
is that
when we talk about negative and positive,
would you agree with that?
Well, what I want to say is that energy is in your thoughts.
Yeah.
So if you think negatively,
yes,
or I'm going to set this person up to get what I want.
Yeah.
All right. So you set that up. So that's the lower frequency. But a lot of us have learned to do that to survive.
Right.
But then they have suffered the consequences from it too.
So, okay, but let's say you're the person that was set up. Did you in some way attract that to yourself?
Yeah, if you were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then it's like, okay, well, maybe I ought to change my friends. That's what happens when people start to wake up, is that their friends that they had before no longer serve them.
Right.
Or situations because they no longer feel comfortable. It's all about comfortability, how you're feeling. Like when you're around somebody, like if you have drinking friends, and the only relationship you have is when you drink.
Right.
Right. And then all of a sudden you need something and say, forget you, I'm busy. And then you find out who your true friends are.
Yeah.
It's the same with anything in life. It goes hand in hand. And it's about what you want to get out of the person. If you're being selfish and you just want to play, you're going to see through that. And so you don't do that anymore, or you take responsibility for the part you played in it.
Right.
But it's all about growth. It's all about growth and experiencing this and going in a different direction. And it's your thought pattern. So if you think bad things are going to happen, like, oh my God, I can't pay the bills today, and oh my God, that's your thought.
Yes.
So that's going to come towards you.
Right.
But if you go from the positive and talk in gratitude, all right, and thankfulness, I'm grateful. Thank you for providing a house over my head. Thank you for providing the income so I can pay my bills.
Right.
Change it around into positive thoughts. And I think I told you before about, I used to tell people I still do, is to shift, all right? Shift their thinking. And people say, well, I'll be shifting all day. So like saying shitting on yourself, all right? Yeah. Well, that's true. That's how powerful our thoughts come into play. And our thoughts of being hurt, all right, and things continuing on is because you thought that.
Yeah.
So it's going to happen. You're going to draw
Well,
what you thought of. Too.
Yeah, I always think the expectations. You ever have one of those instances? I knew that was going to happen.
Well,
But I called it.
That's
well,
right.
yes.
That's where you go inside and you connect with your intuition.
Yeah.
Your intuition is your consciousness.
Right.
All right. But subconsciously, we beat ourselves up sometimes
Yes.
in the middle of the night. And that's where a lot of people have different dreams and all this stuff comes out. And the thing is that it's deep down inside. But also what's deep down inside is your power. Your power as an individual soul.
Yeah.
That's where your divinity, all right? And what I call it is your mastery. Mastery is understanding that you have power, but you have to use it. So it's like, I knew that was going to happen. It's
Right.
like, okay, when that happens again, I'm going to think twice. So that's where you step back and you take the breath.
Yeah.
Okay. Bringing the right thoughts into my head to what
Yes.
to say, what to do.
Can we change the outcome of things?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's your perception.
Yeah.
So as we evolve, we are changing our perception of how we do things and look at things. And that's within our energy field. All right. So if you think nothing's going to change and things are going to go bad, it's going
Right.
to go bad.
Right.
But if you think of, okay, let me look at this. Political. Things happen because they're supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And this is part of our democracy. And this is part of the world right now. And we all affect one another. So I'm going to put it out there that all good things are going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to live in the benevolence of my power to think that way.
Yeah, I haven't in a while, but I would always sometimes write out things of gratitude, like things I appreciate, right? And I would end it with, everything is always working out for me.
Exactly. And so I teach integrated energy therapy, and my master class is the 4th level. And in that, we have a reach or a blessing bowl where we reach for that. And we put out there in the universe as if it's already happened.
Right.
So what you thought is going to come back to you.
Yes.
All right. So other people are starting to be enlightened and start to think this way. So we are all connected. We are all in this energy, and it's happening quickly.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are waking up quickly, and it's all in the thought process. So the coherence, when I was talking about connecting with the heart, when you said you almost started crying when you were talking, is because it's the energy within the field.
Yeah.
All right? And my authenticity.
Yes.
And about being real. And people don't like to be, you can't say you're an alcoholic. You can't say that you were in recovery. It's like, that was a part of my life. I don't truly believe that I'm an alcoholic anymore.
Right.
Meaning,
It's not who
my
I am.
behaviors in my thoughts of a mental capacity to need that. All right. And I choose different, healthier behaviors than I had before. And that goes along with changing people, places, and things.
Right.
So it's about changing what you did and the results that you got. I don't want to get that anymore. And I'm going to listen when I say, okay, don't do that. You say, oh, I'm going to do it anyway. Listen to the thoughts. That's where you can make the changes.
Right.
But you got to set the intention. All right, I'm going to listen to that thought again. Or if that person comes down the road, say certain things, I'm not going to respond to them. I'm going to inside breathe in and out and send love and compassion to them, because that's going to be in the energy field.
So there are some people that say that life is segments, right? So we have different segments of things, right? There's this,
Chapters.
Yeah, right.
In our
So
story.
Every time we walk into a room, it's like a new segment. It's whatever. That sometimes if you make a list of positive attributes of the person, you'll get that and not the other. So if
Exactly.
it's someone that's difficult, that it changes. But you got it's the writing just. I think locks it in your brain.
It's about the intention of writing it. Just like in AA, what they talk about is you pray for somebody. If you have a resentment towards somebody, you pray for them for 2 weeks, all right, what you want out of your life. And you don't want to pray for that son of a bitch or whatever, but you do that on purpose. And the more you do that, the more it goes with inside eternally into your psyche, your conscious, all right? And so it starts to change around. So you took action. So what I started talking about with the classes that I take, and we do a blessing bowl, we ask for something else. And then like last night, I went and had a bunch of stuff in my blessing bowl, and I went out and burned it. Because last night was a full moon. The night before was the full moon when it came. Yeah. But that's the energy that's here that manifests the energy to come forward. All right. And the same with you. If you actually put that out and pray for somebody that you don't want to pray for, you're going to actually have that come towards you because you set the action and the energy. But if nothing changes, so you have to take the action. Yeah,
I the action of being
stuck,
right?
Whatever
so,
it is.
Yes. So you've got to take the action towards what's going to feel better or what's going to be.
And so when we talked about the chemistry in the medicine, all right, so there are some things that the medicine can help, like the Suboxone, but in conjunction with actually cognitive therapy.
Yes.
What is the root cause for the pain? Why you're trying to cover it up with the medicine or whatever you're using, right? And so you go back and look at that and say, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
All right, I get it. And then you can start changing from that, start healing from that. And a lot of people say, well, I don't have to heal. I'm perfect. God made me perfect. Yes, absolutely. You're divine. However, the choices you made has you stuck right now. And so you have choices to live in that divineness.
Yeah.
And that's the energy.
Yeah, it's all energy, isn't it?
It's all energy.
It's all energy.
People say, well, that's a bunch of bunk. Okay. Well, you go into a room and everybody is, all the stuff that happened, after the election and everybody is just, and it's still going on. Well, if you listen to that stuff, you're going to be in that energy.
Yeah.
And so you're going to think that stuff.
I often think that when we have the war on and put whatever noun after it you want, that we push so hard against something that we wind up getting more
bring it towards you. Yeah,
right,
exactly.
because most of our thoughts are that. So really your brain is kind of a magnet,
right,
and you need to control that, and you can. Yeah.
So what I say is be in the new news. Be the new news.
Yeah.
Respond differently.
Yeah.
Be new. Don't fall for the old or the bad or the negative.
Right.
Stay in the positive.
And this is where people will say oftenly, do you know what that is?
No. What is that?
So whenever there's an emergency, that was the way they used to call. If you're hearing the horn in the background.
Yeah.
In the town that we're in, that's how they used to call, right? For volunteers or the fire department or whatever. Well, now everybody's electronic leashed. And they had a vote to keep it. I guess somebody found it quaint. I mean, if you live in town and it goes off at 2 a.m.
So when the phones are off, it still goes through?
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. I mean, it goes. So you'll know, I'll think, and you know what I do sometimes? I hope everything's okay.
What was that?
I hope everything's okay.
Well,
you know what I mean? I hope, whoever it is, whatever is needed, I hope that it all works out well.
That's what the first responders are. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for responding.
Yeah. So, but that's what that is. And it goes off at all times. And I don't know why they voted to keep it. It's like, I think it's for the, early 1900s, maybe 1800s. I don't know. But it's been around and they voted to keep it.
It could be bells,
which would be, might be slightly more obnoxious, but that is like, it's a foghorn out there. Yeah. But yes, it does. It goes off and it blows several times. Everything is energy and we have control of that, and you really should never be stuck with anything and, go to where it feels better, and your feelings are your guide.
Exactly.
Right? The feelings are your guide is what I kind of believe.
Are you feeling comfortable or uncomfortable?
Yeah. Right.
And a lot of people say, well, what do you mean? Well, what are your feelings towards this person when you talk to this person? Do you feel good? Do you feel unhappy?
Yeah.
Like if you go into a workroom, you go into a lunchroom, and everybody's talking about the politics, and everybody's talking about this one or that one or whatever. It's like, that's negative energy, so I don't contribute to it.
Right.
Go out or change.
Yeah.
Or go into your breathing when they're talking the negative.
Right.
And don't contribute to it.
Yeah.
So.
And how you feel around certain people, maybe certain situations. Yeah. If you, it sounds so easy, right? Because it is.
It does sound easy. It's very hard, but the more you do it, the easier it gets.
Yeah.
And it's like the boundaries, or detaching with love. You detach yourself so you're not caught in the web of being pulled in.
Like people, you brought up relationships, and I don't want to go too long on this, but you brought up relationships, and sometimes in relationships, people have expectations. There's different things, right? There's frustrations and all that. But I don't know that you ever have to give up on something until, and yet at other times it just feels better to walk away from whatever it is.
Right.
Yeah. And it can become problematic because there's feelings and there's things and, stuff in there that I don't, how do you fix that?
But there's also sometimes you come together for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And it's time to walk away.
Yeah.
But the thing is that you made the choice to be in the relationship in the first place, and you learned something from it.
Yeah.
That's the key.
Right.
Just like, all the divorces and stuff like that, the children were meant, in love, but it was a different time. It's like time periods are different now than it was back in the 50s and 60s. You marry forever, you don't ever change, and then you are unhappy for the rest of your life. Well, you made your bed, so you got to sit in it.
Yeah.
But things are changing now. And that's why everything is changed in the last 30 years, how we look at life, the things that we're programmed to see, the commercials and the relationships with different people. And that's our evolvement. It's okay. And it's still about your choices.
Yeah.
How you look at it.
Right.
And also being civil, how you want to treat somebody. You want to have them treat you like that back. And some people don't have the capacity to do that. Some people choose not to, but it's still about it's an inside job.
Yeah,
it's always about an inside job, and it's about what you need to do to take care of yourself today.
Inside job and energy.
It's always an inside job.
I want to ask you this because I think this was something that, and I don't know because you're a galactic grandmother, and I'm not sure if I know exactly what that is, but I'll go to this.
Well, we're not alone in this universe. Let's put it that way.
Right.
Elon is right.
Okay. So
well, I'm sorry. I just made a joke there. But sorry.
No. I got you.
We're seeing beyond in the future. What's coming?
The another one. Look at this back-to-back emergencies. So we talk about we come from the stars. That's something you said. And we've all been taught at some point about evolution.
Yes.
And then we've been taught about divine intervention.
Yes.
And different things. So there are some that'll say we share 98.8% of our DNA with chimpanzees. Others will say, well, that's not exactly true. There is quite a bit, but we have 600 and something different, and it's our thoughts and our behaviors that really separate us, and that's all part of our DNA. But I've gone to the zoo. And I've looked at the orangutans, and I just swore to God it was Uncle Al.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you look at it, and you can kind of see. So you go, okay, so how is that still going, and this is going over here? There had to be something that changed it. And there are some that believe that what we would refer to as aliens, right, came into our planet and...
Yes.
Yeah. And somehow change things.
That's true.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is scientifically proven.
It is.
However, mainstream hasn't accepted it yet, is because of the time period that we're in. And it's about the control and what would have to be changed in science.
Yes.
All right. So that's what I said. We are evolving. Things are going to be changing. So scientifically, it's proven that we have 23 chromosomes, and the apes have 24. They have one more than us.
That's where all the hair comes from. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot to it, but it has to do with the brain and the actual spiritualness within inside of us, or divinity within inside us, and also our logic, how we can come from compassion and logically think, the brain, the different hemispheres and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But Greg Braden and also many other scientists proved that the difference with our DNA, our chromosomes, is on the second pair of our chromosomes is different than all the other ones. And what had happened, what was actually documented, what had happened was about 50,000 years ago, that we had intervention, a divine intervention by our stars, our connection with our ancestors, who brought the energy to us. All right, and through evolution, They actually came out with one human that has 23. The second, at the end of the chromosomes are telomeres. And the telomeres are on all the chromosomes. And the telomeres is about many different things in our genetic, but also our how we live our life, how we age, and how our body functions, homeostasis. Well, on the second one, it has inverted telomere. It has two chromosomes together. So that is the 24th that the apes have. And that 24th is the actual, our capacity to have compassion, to live in our spiritual divineness of who we are, to have the higher intuition of knowing things. All right. So I think we talked about this before about different mediums and psychics. What they're doing is they're reading the field.
Yeah, I said that to you. Like,
Right.
I don't think anybody can really predict the future, but they can tap into the energy. And if you stay on that path.
And it's what is in with the field of the person.
Yes.
So the medium, not all psychics are mediums. So a psychic reads the field. A medium reads the field and taps in to the divine.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. I tap into the divine. All right. The energy of the body. And that's where the angels come in. So the angels are accepted in society, all right?
Yes.
That they're watching over you.
Yeah.
That is the frequency of the love that is there. Now, if you think of in the Bible, the burning bush, Moses, okay?
Right.
And they seen a big glow of energy around. That's the energy, and they called it an angel because it was a big field. That's the field of the divineness.
Okay.
So on the 23 chromosomes we have, that is the human DNA. And everything is about balance when you think about when you think about energy and how the body balances itself with homeostasis. Okay, so sacred geometry is about the molecules and how the energy comes together and how they work together with different atoms and different elements of the earth, the air, the water. So when you talked about the water and the crystallization of the water, that's the energy, and it was all balanced.
Yeah.
It was all balanced. Okay, so we have 23, which isn't balanced. However, 24 is balanced. The actual junk DNA that they call the black hole, that they can't figure it out, is the quantum energy.
Right.
And when a healer like myself, I use the quantum energy. I allow it to come through my body, through my energy field, and then I actually tap it into another person. And their DNA, their divineness, knows it. And that's when you were talking with somebody, when you can feel their energy, you know, that is the ability that you have in that 24th chromosome to feel compassion, to feel intuition, and to know things. That is our 24th ability, all right? Apes, all right, don't have the linear mind to figure things out. They can talk, you know, but it's about compassion and a higher frequency of intuition, of knowing things. That's why some people ESP, you know, don't talk about that. You know, don't talk about your aunt or your grandmother used to read these cards and they would see things or whatever. That's all the abilities that we have, is to go within and see. And a lot of people talk about, you know, the different aliens that are here. If they're bad, they're going to control us and whatever. They're trying to get all this.
Yeah.
Well, that was the old fear way of looking at it. And what is happening now is that a lot of the helpers from the universe is here. And they have been here. But also the bad's been there, just like light and dark, you know, the good things and the bad things. And now we are evolving to a higher frequency where people are becoming more aware, more enlightened, and knowing that there's got to be more to life. And that's when they go searching for it. But a lot of times it's hard for them to search when they still live in the fear of moving forward.
Right.
And when I talked about going with inside and listening to your helpers are your mothers, your fathers, your galactic family that have been here, your angels, your spirit guides. When people talk about spirit guides, all right? A lot of times it comes back Native American and all this stuff. That's true. But before that, where did we come from? We came from the stars, and that is the divineness. That is the cosmic, galactic connection with the energy field. So when I say I'm a galactic grandmother, is that I recognize things that I was part of, and that I connect with the wisdom of a grandmother, all right, in the energy field, to connect with your heart, all right, of who you really are as divine being. And so science will come out with it. They have shows already on Gaia.com showing the actual scientific evidence.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't listen to Gaia.com.
Well, there's I read something, and I think I'm getting it right. Einstein
Yes.
had written a letter to his daughter before he died saying that there's something else.
Oh, there's a lot, yeah.
And this other thing is, and he called it love.
Exactly.
He called it love.
Love is compassion. That's love.
He said love is what it is, and that is feeding and doing things and that sort of stuff.
Love and compassion.
Yeah.
That's the heart center.
Yeah.
That's the coherence. That's the coherence field that is out there in the energetic field. And when you talk about that, there's actually 3 parts to the field. The energy in the earth, when the Schumann's resonance is frequency, when they actually can monitor, the volcanoes and stuff that's happening underneath. Mm-hmm. And then the field around us, how we're feeling each other's energy. And then we got the magnetic field of the gravity and the magnetics and the connection with the sun and the moons and how it's connecting our fields. Yeah. We get crazy or we get really intuitive and, can manifest more. That's the part about doing the burning. Yes. Is that you purposely you put a frequency out there of burning in the air, the oxygen in the air, which is also performing fire, which is part of the elements of the earth, and how we healed ourselves. Mother Gaia provides the food for us. All right. So when you go back to native, you go back to that stuff and you say,
yeah, that makes sense.
What about these tree huggers? What are they doing? They're connecting with Gaia.
Yeah.
They feel the connection.
I almost feel like we've lost our wisdom along the way.
Well, I'm a galactic grandmother to help you with the wisdom.
Yes.
All right. To help you know that you have, it's an inside job. You have the answers within inside yourself.
Yeah.
It's just that you have to take the action. And you have to come from love.
Right.
It's all, and that's why I say it's a loving compassion, the coherence field.
Wow.
I know it's fascinating, isn't it?
It is. It's fascinating, and it's. I find it. I think it's interesting.
And people call it woo-woo.
Yeah,
well,
I know.
that's because they haven't been taught yet.
If it doesn't make sense, we need to call it something, right?
Of course, because we're different. So they got to tear us down.
So people can go to SheilaTillich.com.
Yes.
And find out all this and more, and even go to you for healings.
They can go for sessions. I have sessions out there.
Yep.
And I actually do 3-in-1, 3 different types of modalities in one.
Okay.
Basically, it's about helping you go forward.
Yeah.
Helping you connect with your actual source inside, the power inside.
And step into your power. And then but you have classes and things too.
Yes, I teach other people, and a lot of the people I teach is not healers.
Yeah.
And that's what I like, is because many people are wising up. They're becoming open to this stuff and realizing that they need to change. And a lot of times it's the relationships they have, the profession they have, they're not happy.
Right.
And what I do, integrated energy therapy, is about the spiritual DNA that you have.
Yeah.
And science has proven that with when we had the towers hit, when we had 9/11, about how we have more than just 2 parts of our DNA, which is our physical and our emotional side. All right. We have many other sides, and those are the lessons. That's the wisdom that we've had. But a lot of us get stuck, all right, and they can't manifest or move forward in their life. So IET is about the issues in the tissues.
Yes.
What is stuck in the layers of the energy field and why they're stuck. When I talked about guilt, well, there's also fear. Mm-hmm. There's also anger and resentment and a whole bunch of other things, stress and powerlessness, and how it affects your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual field. So IET is about taking off one layer at a time, but when people learn it, it is a certification program. But what I teach people, it's not so much as what you can go out there and heal somebody else. It's about healing yourself first, understanding what are the issues in my tissues.
Yeah.
Why am I stuck? Why do I have fear? Learning about themselves. Those are the first 3 levels. And I usually have an intensive workshop, which is 3-day workshop, where they learn about what is stuck. What's the core issue of the things that I do? Why do I do that? And then after they do that, then their DNA starts to wake up. Then they start to realize that they have the power to move forward and make different changes in their life.
Yeah. It's all
energy.
It's all energy, and it's all
Love.
right there in love. Go to SheilaTillich.com. I appreciate you coming back in. It's a Sunday, and I know the Bills come play a little bit later. People will be looking for us to talk about that. All that Monday, the Jake Paul fight, all that coming up on the next episode. But I thought this would just be interesting today, and I don't know why. It was something.
It's the energy in the field.
Feels
well. There was a full moon last night.
Yes, or was it 2 nights ago and then last night was it waning?
Well, 3 days. Well, really 5 days before and 5 days after. The energy is still there.
Ah, okay.
People don't realize that when there's a full moon, it doesn't just go away the next day.
Yeah.
The energy is still there.
Well, it's taken so long to get here anyway.
And a lot of us that are sensitive feel it way before it comes.
Oh, okay. Meaning what?
Meaning
how do you feel?
Well,
you sort of act.
Well, some of us that are sensitive have, it's called ascension symptoms, which we're very sensitive to energy.
Yeah.
All right. We feel all of a sudden things are out of place.
Yes.
And also with the electronic system that's happening now, everybody's having a problem with there. Some people are affected by the electronics when they're working on their computer or whatever. Things aren't working. And so we can have a stomach ache, we can have a headache, we can have migraines, we can have all different muscle aches, and nothing will go away, or we feel like we're having a heart attack or anxiety.
Yeah.
And you go to the hospital and they can't find nothing.
Right.
And you always check. If you start to feel weird, all right, always get it checked out. And you don't have any answers to it. If you're sensitive or can feel energy or are starting to wake up, you start to feel things. When I started to become a medium back in the early 2000s, my bed started shaking. And I thought it was a earthquake, right? And I asked my teacher what was going on. They said, you're starting to waken up. Your physical body is starting to wake up to this frequency. And so when we talk about ascension symptoms, the energy is changing, and it's going to get stronger and stronger in the next 5 years. Because it was a cycle with the earth. It's called the harmonic convergence, and it was a precession of the equinox where the actual magnetic field is changing in the earth. And it's from 1994 all the way up to 2030. Okay. And the next 5 years is a strong quantum time that's happening. Wow. More inventions are coming out. Wonderful things are coming our way.
Look at that. It's all
wonderful.
It's all good stuff.
It's all new news.
Yeah.
New news.
And it's all good. It's all good. Yes.
All good.
Sheila, thank you very much.
You're
we'll
welcome.
leave on this note with Ray LaMontagne, just because it seems to fit so well.
Power.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
If you want it, you can have it. All you gotta do is just reach out and grab it. If you want
Feeling achy? Tired of popping pills that make you feel like a zombie? Before you turn into one, swing by MJ Dispensary at 900 Jefferson Road in Henrietta. They're in Suite 902, and you got to let their bud tenders work their magic. These aren't your average employees. They're like wizards of wellness, man. Whether you're looking for gummies, pre-rolls, oils, or creams, they've got just the thing to help you chill and feel better. Head over to mjdispensary585.com. They'll even deliver to your door. MJ Dispensary, 900 Jefferson Road in Henrietta. They've got what you need to live better and maybe smile a little more too.